Greetings, enthusiasts. Cosmo here with the D-Day shave for the Lather games of 2020. Up to this point, my videos have been pretty ridiculous, so a little departure from normal. I figured a lot of the D-Day remembrance ceremonies are canceled due to the COVID pandemic. So today we're going to just share a story from June 6th about an American hero from that day. So the shave stuff that we're going to be using, the appropriately named Arlington shave soap by D.R. Harris, which is made in London, England. We're going to be using a British made, or I think these are still made in London. Maybe they're made somewhere in the UK. I think it says London on there. I don't have my glasses. But I don't think I've used this since the last Lather games, actually. It's kind of brutal. And the razor that we're going to be using today is a Gillette Tech that came in this little carry pouch from, I don't know when, there's no date on it. But this thing, I don't know if this blade case came with it, looks old. But inside is a little toiletry kit. It's got some toothpaste, a pretty brutal looking toothbrush, and then the Tech sits right in there. So Gillette Ball-In Tech, there's no code, no date. It's made in the USA, this one. So let's get to that, shall we? So today, I'll talk and lather. Got my standard lather bowl. Ooh, already smells good. So today the story I wanted to tell is about an American named Waverly B Woodson, born in 1922. At the age of 20 years old, Woody, as he was known, enlisted in the Army, United States Army. He was a pre-med student at the time at Lincoln University. And so Woody enlists in the Army, and he goes to officer candidate school for anti-aircraft artillery, and he passes OCS. And when he gets done, he's told that there are no officer positions available for black men. So he is instead encouraged to go into the medic training and is attached to a segregated battalion known as the Barrage Balloon Battalion. These are the guys that set up the balloons for disabling enemy aircraft. And he lands on Normandy on June 6th. Those landing craft, if you've ever seen them, just a little boat with a drop-down ramp for the military folks to storm the beach. And I always think about how crazy that must have been, because that door was a shield, you know, and as they're pulling up to the beachhead, there's got to be, you know, machine gun fire and everything just ricocheting off that thing. I just can't imagine how crazy scary that must have been. So the boat that he was in was hit by German gunfire. I don't know if it was artillery or what I believe is artillery. And person next to Waverly Woodson killed. And Woody takes a bunch of shrapnel, metal embedded into him. And he thinks he's gonna die at that point. but he's manages to get himself to shore, where he set up a medic station and spends the next 30 hours going out, grabbing wounded people from the areas of battle, dragging them back to this medic station and treating them there. And he's involved with the treatments of hundreds. Giving people blood plasma, medication, setting bones. He had to amputate a foot at one point, not his own, but somebody else's. He's credited with saving 4 British soldiers, and I'm not sure which branch of the military they were in, from drowning, like grabbing these. Apparently they had a guide wire or some kind of rope to get them to shore, and it broke, and some guys went down, and he was performing CPR. And remember, this guy's been hit with shrapnel, you know, and he's out here running around and grabbing people for 30 hours while he's bleeding, you know. And so eventually he collapses from his injuries, and he's taken to a British military hospital where he spends 3 days recovering. And then the real man that this is, the real hero that he is, just got out of there alive, and he wants to be sent back to the front lines to continue helping. So I don't know about you, but when I hear stories like that, just really gives me a lot of emotion, you know, like goosebumps. I was in the Marines, the United States Marines, so I got a, you know, affinity for tough dudes. But that dude's got me beat on every single level. I don't know how I would perform in a situation like that. So he gets back to the States. Waverly Woodson gets back to the United States, and there were a lot of people that thought he was deserving of the Medal of Honor, and he wasn't awarded that. There were even generals that were saying this guy deserves the Medal of Honor. Some people will say that it was because he was black that he wasn't awarded it. I don't know the full story behind how to get the Medal of Honor or what happens, but I'm not discounting that at all. He was awarded the Bronze Star and a Purple Heart. And then, in true badass fashion, signs up to go to Korea in the 50s. So I don't really know his story in Korea. I only am familiar with this portion. So Waverly Woodson gets married in 1952, has 3 kids. He goes on to have a career at the, I believe, the Walter Reed Army Medical Center, where he retired. And he passed August 12th, 2005. Was buried at Arlington National Cemetery in Washington. So that's why I thought Arlington was fitting for today. It's a lot of people. There goes the lid. Cool bowl though, right? Lid doesn't stay on very well. A lot of people can't have the big ceremony at Arlington and in Normandy and all these places. So I thought a tiny, insignificant gesture. Insignificant in that, who the hell am I? Would be to share Woody's story. There are people that still believe, including his widow, her name escapes me, I apologize, but they still believe that he was wronged, that he's deserving of the Medal of Honor, and there is a petition at moveon.org to have the president review that. It's sitting a couple hundred signatures short of the 3,000 signature threshold. But I'll link it here in the bottom of the video if anybody's interested to go sign that. I'm going to sign it. I haven't done so yet, but I will. So this soap actually whipped up a ton of lather. Look at that. Still pretty dry, but you know how that goes. So let's go ahead and move on with this shave. Arlington's got a good scent on it. Brush could use a little more backbone, but it feels pretty soft. Lost about 5 hairs just in the process of this, but I haven't used it that much. It's a little small for my taste. But Arlington whips up nice, pretty lather, doesn't it? That stuff is real pretty. This brush is a little slow to get the water in there. It doesn't really, I'm gonna give it a big old dunk there. Starting to fly all over the place now. Something just landed on my foot. That's good enough for government work. So let's see how this works. It's probably still a little underhydrated, but everybody's already stopped watching at this point, so Gillette Texture Great Razor. Good residual slickness on the soap. So even though it looks a little bit on the dry side, it's actually got a nice thick creamy residual, which is, hold on, as I progress in my, what do I do with my towel? In my hobby, I've really learning that there's not a one size fits all with the lathers and their level of hydration. You got to kind of play with it a little bit. It's dried out now, but with this razor, I could shave with air conditioner. It doesn't really matter. It felt good. We like to obsess about it, but you get a mild razor like this and you can get a good shave out of anything, really. It's just more fun with the soap. I know it's probably blasphemy, but whatever. We're just gonna, yeah, that's dried out now at this point. We're gonna just call it a good one pass and get on with our life. Let me rinse this off. right, so in keeping with the theme of stuff that has been around since then and is ally made, I got a bottle of Old Spice Original, which this has got a date of 1997 on the back of it, but I don't know, you know, at what point. I don't know how the copyright relates to when it was actually bottled. But this one was bottled in the United States. Sorry, this is the wrong thing. This is the cologne. This is the aftershave. We're going with D.R. Harris Windsor. I don't know why, but I thought I would mix up my scents with my soap and aftershave. I just wanted to, I had never tried a D.R. Harris aftershave, so I like to try it. Just usually I put balms in with my aftershave, but I like to see the quality of a shave. Feels like there's some good oils in there. Feels slick now, but not oily or greasy or sticky. Smells good. Got a woody cologne scent. I don't know what the scent notes are on it. I honestly didn't. I forgot to look. I picked it up just because I wanted to try it. Sample from Maggard. The cologne is the Old Spice, and we're just gonna go. You gotta be careful with this because it'll give you more than you ever need. Smell like Grandpa. So before we sign off here, we went with D.R. Harris Arlington. We use a Gillette ball-end tack from toiletries kit. Very befitting of what may have been carried around by some military folks. When I was in the military, they gave us like Mach 3s or something. We used a Volfix brush. There you go. You can see the level of flow through that. Held a good amount. The soap is looking nice and shiny. There's a lot left over. I always, with the hard milled soaps, I always use way too much. What are you gonna do? But as we sign off here, just a sort of respectful shout out to Sergeant Waverly B Woodson, Woody as he was known, a true American hero. If you think that Woody deserves the Congressional Medal of Honor, there's a link below to sign the petition, and I will see you guys on the next shave. Bye.